Picture this. It's 3 a.m. You've been awake for 2 hours. Your baby is screaming, and you don't know why. You've fed them, changed them, rocked them, sung to them. Nothing. And somewhere in that dark room, a thought creeps in that you never say out loud. Why can't I do this? If you've been in that room, if you know exactly what that silence feels like between the cries, this video is for you. Because there is a method, a quiet, ancient, almost invisible method, developed not by a parenting guru, not by a sleep consultant, but by a culture that has been raising calm, regulated children for over 1,000 years. And in the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what it is. A word that has no translation. In Japan, there is a concept called ma, pronounced ma. It has no direct English translation, and that's not an accident. Ma is the art of meaningful pause, the intelligence of space, the wisdom of what you don't do. In Japanese aesthetics, architecture, music, ma is the silence between the notes, the breath between the words, the empty room that gives meaning to what's in it. But ma isn't just about art. For Japanese mothers and fathers, ma is a parenting philosophy. It means, before you react, pause. Before you fill the space, listen. Before you decide what your baby needs, observe. This is not passivity. This is not doing nothing. This is one of the most active, disciplined practices a parent can master. And modern neuroscience, which we'll get to in a moment, is only now beginning to understand why it works. But here's what I want you to hold on to before we go further. In Western parenting culture, we are trained to respond instantly. Baby cries, we act. We interpret silence as failure, stillness as neglect, waiting as weakness. Ma says the opposite. Ma says, the most powerful thing you can offer a dysregulated baby is a regulated you, and that begins with a pause. What your baby's brain is actually doing. Now let's talk about what's happening inside your baby's body when they cry. Because if you understand the mechanism, the actual neurological process, everything changes. A newborn's brain is not yet capable of self-regulation. That's not a failure, that's biology. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for calm reasoning, for emotional regulation, for the ability to think before reacting, is almost entirely offline in the first months of life. What is online? The amygdala. The amygdala is your baby's alarm system. It detects threat. It signals danger. And when it fires, the body responds with everything it has: heart rate up, cortisol flooding, muscles tense, lungs open, crying. Now here's what most parents don't realize. When you rush to respond in a panicked state, when your own nervous system is flooded, your baby's amygdala doesn't calm down. It escalates. This is called co-regulation. Harvard's Center on the Developing Child describes it this way. Babies literally borrow the nervous system of their caregiver to learn how to regulate their own. Your baby's brain is scanning you, constantly, reading your breath, your muscle tension, your heartbeat, your voice. If what it reads is panic, it confirms the alarm. Yes, we are in danger. If what it reads is calm, a slow breath, a relaxed jaw, a steady hold, the amygdala receives a different signal. We are safe. This is not a metaphor. This is measurable. This is documented. This is why ma works. The pause, the ma, is not for your baby. It's for you. It's the moment you regulate yourself so your baby can borrow your calm. And in a moment, I'm going to show you the exact physical technique, borrowed from Japanese infant care, that uses this co-regulation window. But first, there's something about colic specifically that most parents get completely wrong. What colic actually is. Let's talk about colic directly, because if you're watching this video, there's a good chance you've already heard every theory in the book. Gas, reflux, overstimulation, food sensitivity, tongue tie, and maybe you've tried everything too. Here's what we know. Colic is not a diagnosis, it is a description. The classic definition: crying for more than 3 hours a day, more than 3 days a week, for more than 3 weeks, tells us how much a baby cries. It tells us almost nothing about why. And this is where Japanese infant care offers something Western medicine rarely does: A different question. Not, what is wrong with the baby, but what is the baby's nervous system trying to communicate? And how can I create the conditions for it to settle? This is Ma in practice, not treating the symptom, understanding the system. And research on colicky infants has found something remarkable. Babies with colic don't just cry differently, they breathe differently. Their cortisol patterns are different. Their responses to stimulation are more intense. These are highly sensitive nervous systems. And highly sensitive nervous systems don't need more input. They need less. They need space. They need Ma. The 3-layer method. Now I want to walk you through the practical technique. It has 3 layers. Each one builds on the last. Each one can be used independently. But together, they work the way Japanese culture intended, as a system, not a shortcut. Layer 1. The 10-second pause. When your baby begins to cry, before you do anything else, count to 10. Not because 10 seconds will solve the crying, but because in those 10 seconds, your nervous system has time to shift out of reactive mode. Your cortisol begins to drop. Your jaw unclenches. Your shoulders fall. Your breath slows. And your baby, who is reading every micro-expression on your face, receives the first signal. We are not in danger. This is Ma, the pause before the note. Layer 2, the hold. Baby held face down along the parent's forearm. The Japanese infant hold that most resembles documented calming techniques is a variation of what we now call the prone position hold. Baby lies face down along your forearm, their belly supported, their head slightly lower than their feet. Gentle, rhythmic movement. Not vigorous rocking. Oscillation. A slow, tide-like motion. Why does this work? The vestibular system, the balance system in the inner ear, is one of the first sensory systems to develop in utero. Your baby spent 9 months floating, moving, never fully still. The womb was not quiet. The womb was not still. The womb was rhythmic. This hold recreates that rhythm. It speaks to a part of the brain that language hasn't reached yet. And here is where Ma enters again. The parent doing this hold must be still inside. The motion is external. The regulation is internal. A tense parent doing this hold transmits tension through their arms, their grip, their breathing pattern. A calm parent transmits something different entirely. Layer 3, the sound space. Japanese homes traditionally practice shizukesa, the cultivation of quietness as an environment, not silence, intentional quiet. For a colicky baby, this means reduced stimulation. One sound, one light source, one sensory input. The most effective sound? A low, consistent shushing, matched to the intensity of the baby's cries and slowly, gradually, brought lower. Not louder than the crying, matching the crying, then guiding it down, like a conductor lowering the orchestra. This combination, the pause, the hold, the sound space, is not complicated. It is intentionally simple, because in Japan there is a concept called kanso, the beauty of simplicity. The most powerful solutions have the fewest moving parts. But here's the part of this method that most Western parenting advice completely misses, and honestly, it's the part that changes everything long-term. Stay with me. This isn't about your baby. I want to ask you something. When your baby cries, what happens inside you? Not what do you do, what do you feel? For most parents, the answer involves some combination of anxiety, guilt, urgency, sometimes shame. I should be able to fix this. And here's what no pediatrician will tell you in a routine checkup. That feeling, that surge of shame and urgency, is not just an emotion, it is a physiological response. It activates your own amygdala. It floods your body with cortisol. It puts you into the same dysregulated state as your baby. And now you have 2 dysregulated people in a small room at 3 a.m. The Japanese principle of Ma asks a radical question. What if the baby's regulation always begins with yours? What if you are not solving the problem, you are becoming the solution? This is not a technique, this is an identity shift. And identity shifts don't happen overnight. But they begin with one small moment, one pause, one breath, one choice to be the stillness your baby cannot yet find on their own. Your only assignment. I don't want to give you a 10-step program. Ma is not a 10-step program. Your assignment for the next 72 hours is this. Once per day, when your baby begins to cry, pause for 10 seconds before you act. That's it. Notice what happens in your body during those 10 seconds. Notice what changes. Notice what doesn't. You are not trying to fix the crying. You are practicing the regulation. And on day 4, I want you to come back to this video, because I believe something will have shifted, not because of magic, but because the nervous system is adaptive, because the brain is plastic, because small, consistent practices create neural pathways that didn't exist before. One pause, repeated. That is how change begins. The parent you already are. You found this video because you are trying. And trying, even imperfectly, even at 3 a.m., even when you are running on no sleep and no answers, trying is what a good parent does. The Japanese do not believe that the best parents are the ones who never make mistakes. They believe the best parents are the ones who practice kaizen, continuous, gentle, daily improvement. Not perfection, progress. Calm parenting is not a technique you learn on a Tuesday and master by Friday. It is an identity. It is the slow, patient work of becoming someone who can hold space for another person's pain without being swallowed by it. Your baby doesn't need a perfect parent. Your baby needs a present one. And presence, just like Ma, begins with a pause. If this resonated with you, share it with one parent who needs to hear it tonight. And drop a comment below. What does your 3 a.m. moment look like? I read every single one.